Hey friends, it's Ellen and welcome to my channel. We're back to simple strokes and movements with the brush to create really sweet and delicate autumn looking botanicals. This is for any skill level. Anybody can do this. I go over how to hold the brush, how to use the brush, and I'm using two different kinds of paper so you can see the difference between the two. So it's something that's really great for any skill level. I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. Let me know if you like this and leave a comment below. So let's get started. Alright everyone, so for this tutorial, just grab whatever paper you have close by. You can even use cheap paper for this. It's just a practice on how to create some delicate flowers and strokes and leaves and all that stuff. I have a piece of Arch 100% cotton cold pressed paper here. I also have the Strathmore, their cotton paper. It's a travel pad. You can get this on Amazon. I think Amazon had the best prices for this Strathmore 100% cotton. It's more flat like a hot press paper. So we're going to play around with a couple of papers. And you'll need like a nice good pointy tip brush. I'll be using two brushes. I'll be using my Princeton 8 long round and my 6 long round. You see the nice point on them? And the belly holds a lot of paint also. And if you want a more rounded brush for round flowers, you can use the Princeton 10 Neptune or even the Princeton 8 round right here, Velvet Touch series. This is the Neptune series. So basically, you know, you have your paints ready. I'm just going to sprinkle water on these, get them activated. And I'll mix up some colors. I'll mix up some greens and some... So I like to make my greens. I talk about this all the time. I'm using peacock blue because it's a nice bright blue. And then I will throw in some nice cadmium yellow deep. You get a nice bright green. I put them in 2 slots here because then I'm going to add a darker color for the darker green. I'm going to add more yellow on this one. On this one, I just pick up some Prussian blue up here. Make that a nice deep dark green. And if I feel like I want to make it more in the fall tones, I'll add a little brown. So this burnt umber, a nice deep dark green there. And even put a little of this burnt umber in here too. And then for the colors of the flowers, you know, they could be more oranges, yellows. I have this color opera, which is a bright pink, but I can add a little yellow to that. So I can add a little yellow. Now it's kind of orange. Keep going back and adding some pink. This is this opera color I love. Now that, again, it's super bright. If you want to dull it down, you can add a little blue, because blue and yellow, orange are opposites, or throw in a little brown again, and it's dulled down to like a nice, you know, fall-looking orange. So there's a couple of things. You can start off doing the flowers first or the stems first. And then also, you might want to have some stems with some brown. So we've got the burnt umber here. I have burnt sienna here. I'll add a little Paynes gray or a neutral tint color to it so it's deep brown. Play around with that. I'm going to get a really nice point with the number 6 here. So you grab a nice pointy tip brush like this, and I'll start off with the leaves and stems. Get a good amount of paint on my brush, see, in the belly there. If you have too much, you can always tap it on a paper towel. And it's all the way you hold the brush. So this whole tutorial is about strokes, holding the brush, paper. So you can make a nice kind of funky leaf. I'll zoom in again there. You're going to go up and over and move your hand like this. So you're going to go up, push down, move up, over. Whoops, and maybe more paint. Up, over, and then down again to make some kind of funky little leaf like this, right? You can kind of go up again. Now, because this paper, Arch paper, sucks up that watercolor, you're going to have to use more. See that? It's always good to kind of crisscross some of the leaves. And then, see, I'm pushing it like this, pushing down, pull it up a little bit, and then bring it up and push down again and pull back down here. So it looks like it's bending. Now, how that looks on this paper, which is not so porous, a little bit easier, right? Moves easier, smooth. Look at that. Push down, up and down. Grab some of that dark green. See all the fun things you can make with these colors. And then go in and grab some of those browns, right? Now obviously you see in this paper here, it's really going to soak it up. So if you had this really inexpensive cotton paper, just going to go like this, bend it, push down a little bit, bend it back. Just simple little maneuvers with your brush. You can add a little more yellow. Get this color back here, like a mustardy yellow color, or even a little tint of that orange color. Here we go. So again, you can go the opposite way instead of going from down up, up down. There we go. It's a nice fall looking color. And crisscross it. These are just going to be like grasses. Just like that. And kind of connect them. You want to add some darker brown. Go like that. You can push down for a leaf. See? Push down and pull back and cut. Push down and kind of pull back in. This is how you do it with the brush. Nice small brush, number 6. Gonna grab some more of this brown color. So I'm just pushing down and pulling up. See? Pushing down and pulling up and then connecting it to the branch. Look at that. You can make some that bend that way. Simple, simple, simple. Now this paper, see the difference? It's going to be a little more soaking up. See, it almost looks like a dry brush because you need a lot of water for this paper. The arches. This is a great paper to use for wet on wet. You need to put in a lot of water. But it's a great paper. It's just the same kind of technique, just having to use more water. So you need to navigate the paper situation. And how you do that is practicing, right? So obviously on this arch paper, it's going to be more of a challenge for some because it's going to soak up that paint. And you're going to have to figure out how much paint you really need. But you see, I'm not using a lot. I'm just kind of going back over it again. Right? I'm going to grab this orange color. I mixed that brown and that orange color. I want to play around now. I'm going to make it like a line here. And we can start taking that orange. I'm going to go back and make some more orange. And do some little marks for kind of like a flower slash almost like a branch or something. So basically you're taking the brush, making these little lines like this. See, now it's puddling up and connecting it. Dun, 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 dun. Do the same thing over here. I'll add one of these over here. I'll connect it. See, it's the puddle. Even that, I'm saying to myself, oh, it's puddling too much. So I use this orange color for like a branch. Want some little doodads on it. I can also use the color for flower. We'll make a simple flower. I want to show you a technique using the brush. Hold it on its side. Push down. Grab some more paint. Push down, connect. Right? I'm going to grab a little more. Put a little more pink and yellow in there. Make it a more blushy kind of tone. So I push down and push down. So it kind of looks like a little V. And you can go back in and add another one on its side here. And kind of over here again. Kind of like a layering technique. Right? I'm going to mix up some more paint. And you can do, I think, a typical rounder type flower using your hand going like this. See? That's simple. I left a little space in the center there. I'll show that again. I could do a flower here. Round, see? Ooh. Ooh. So if you're just starting out, there's a simple brush strokes. See, even smaller rounds down here. I wouldn't do all big. You could do all big. But you want to look a little more natural. So bigger ones and smaller ones in the foreground. Simple like that. And then we're going to go back in and add stems again. I would do like a brown stem. Connecting this one. Coming down. I'll make this one a little bit darker if you wanted to. And then we can do some light gray too. These are all like the kind of fallish tones. So I grab whatever gray you have. I have a Paynes gray, lighten it up with a lot of water. And we can start to crisscross up back here again and play around with adding in some gray tones. Bend down little twig, little branches, little leaves. See, I just bent that down. You can take it here, up and over and down. You want to make it interesting. Just like that. Gray is a nice little addition to these colors, you know. And you're just kind of playing with the brush. See how I just move that? Now I know we were doing this paper too. See, it just soaks up all the colors. I feel like sometimes it's fun to do other papers with this kind of technique because you're not using a lot of water. And so you could use it on a little bit cheaper paper. Crisscross. See how it keeps doing that dry brush kind of technique without having, you need more water. So I really like this paper for this particular exercise. I feel like this one is a lot of, you know, you're working more. You're working harder. And for, oops, I missed that. Sorry, guys. So same technique for this paper. Now we want to try a different brush, that rounded brush like I talked about. What did I have, the 10 here? So that little pointy one. And take that color, orangey color again, mixing up some more. Remember, this paper soaks it up, so I'm going to mix up a good amount. That pinky orange. And then I add a little brown in here. So now we have a rounder, fatter kind of brush. You can do the same technique, see? Oh, it's got some pigment on there. It's just going to be different because it doesn't have the point. So when you let go of it, it's not going to have that sharper point. But you can still create the same type of flower. Right? You see how I just did that? And then you can, if you don't want it to be like roundish, you can add little brush marks here and on the side, not to make it so roundish. And the side one, just push here on the side like that. See, now it's puddling because it's excess watercolor. And now I'm going to trying to grab a different color here. This is the burnt sienna. Ooh, it's very kind of bright. See? Just go like that. Whoop, whoop. And we've created some really kind of cute flowers. In the fall realm. See how they work differently? But the same kind of technique of both papers. Obviously in the cold press, if you're a beginner, you're going to have to learn how to navigate adding the water. If you know, you're going to have to do maybe a couple passes with the brush. It's always fun to do that. And I'm going to grab some browns, mix a dark brown here. Make some little grasses. Or you can make some berries. Berries are always fun. So just do some simple strokes here. Again, because it's that thick, it's got a lot of grooves in this paper. It's a little bit tricky to work with. So I'm adding little branches. Then you can go back in and add little berries. They could be red berries, they can be blue. I'm going to grab some of my red color, mix it with my blue, mixing all these colors. Brown. So I've got this cranberry kind of color. Whatever color works for you. So, to look up. See, again, it's just needs a lot of water on the cold press. And you're just making round berry. You leave a little white on the outer edge here. I do that because I like a little halo. So you kind of struggle a little bit with this paper when it's trying to do something delicate. That's why If you're going to do botanicals, I always recommend people doing hot press or something flatter like this. You'll see the difference, how it's easier. So we'll make another branch with the brown. I'll get a little darker so you can distinguish it. There's the branch. See, nice and smooth. And then I'll take that same red. It just flows a lot easier. So if you were ever doing realistic botanicals, I always tell people like hot press, something really nice, smooth paper, just works better. In my opinion, you know, some people might have a different opinion, but I find it generally better. Kind of fill in all this with the berries. Once you've got your flowers, maybe put in a couple of nice little pretty centers. It could be yellow, mustardy color, or could even make it darker, like brown or black. I'm just going to throw some nice yellow in here, and then I'll highlight it with a little brown. Same thing over here. And we didn't do any yellow flowers, but we could do some little simple. Water this yellow down. Oh, goodness. See, just boop, 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 just with your brush. Almost looks like a thistle, but just a little yellow flower like that. Simple. It's kind of bright. You can put another one over here, a smaller one. Just like that. And then I like to do sometimes these things in threes, so I'll add one here, and I'll add the stem in a bit. And then what I recommend for the flowers here, you can go back in with another pass on that orange and add some detail. 1, 2 lines, 1, 2, go around. See, 1, 2. Not too much detail. You don't have to get crazy with it. And then under that yellow, I would take some more concentrated brown color tone and just do some little taps. Oops, it's still wet. So it highlights the actual yellow part of the center. And then you can use the brown right here. Real simple. Almost like that Black-Eyed Susans. This is still wet, but you get the drift. And just play around, you know? If you want to add more gray branches or funky branches, I might go in here and just add some little funky little twigs, little branches. Just change it up. And I'm going to add some green again too, because I feel like it needs some green. I love a good old green. Just go up and over. Some grasses stuck in here. And then you have this nice, pretty, kind of delicate, woodland looking fall-ish, late summer. Go back to the dark green. Botanical. Strokes. Up and over, down, moving around. This is for any skill level. And I do mean that any beginner can do this. Don't tell me you can't. Yes, you can. And just go down here. I showed you the strokes. It's pretty simple. I'm going to add some more green again. Mixing up my yellow and my blue. Just like to crisscross some of these grasses. Just makes it more interesting. Then it's a finished piece. And maybe just like, oh, for the heck of it, get some brown sienna, metal brown here. Really lightly colored brown, just a pièce de résistance, up and over. Like something you just sitting up way up here. Something way up there. Maybe they can bend a little more, have a little couple of delicate things coming down this one. Just these little like stems. It's always nice to add just another element. And that's that. So play with your brush. Change up the paper. And I showed you the wet cold press. not my, see how it's just not my favorite for the botanical. I like adding a little brown in here. I really like the kind of flatter kind of paper, you know. You can still use the cold press if that's all you have. Going back in here, see, I add the brown under the yellow, and I'll just go back in here, a little kind of strokes. So you add the details after you put down the color. This is how it gets a little more advanced. You get that one flat flower, and then you go back in with the point from the bottom, fan out some nice little lines. Do that with these, all these little guys. And then it becomes a more advanced looking painting. Again, I'm going to go back up in here and play around with greens, grasses, and that's that. This didn't take long at all, and look at the result. Fantastic. So play around with the color, play around with the strokes. Go like this, like that, move it around, swoop it, and you have a beautiful design. All right, guys, let me know how you like this tutorial. Leave a comment below. Let me tell you what you're struggling with strokes using your brushes. This symbol 6 could have done the whole thing. I didn't even need to use the 10. And then I used the 8. So you can make some really pretty, you know, botanicals with the number 6 long round from Velvet Touch, Princeton. Okay, guys, take care. Thanks, and I'll speak to you soon.